During the peak of her Hollywood career, Meg Ryan stood as an unstoppable presence in the entertainment industry. She embodied an entire generation of cinema, achieving remarkable success at the box office while commanding salaries that shattered existing records. Her influence was so profound that audiences developed an unprecedented level of trust in her work, a connection few performers ever managed to establish. Throughout the 1990s, she reigned supreme as the uncontested queen of romantic comedies, a star whose mere presence in a film guaranteed its commercial success. Moviegoers flocked to theaters hoping to laugh, shed tears, and rediscover their faith in romance, and the financial returns were extraordinary. From only 4 motion pictures, she accumulated more than $670 million in worldwide ticket sales. Her economic clout became even more apparent when she received a $15 million paycheck for a single film, an amount usually reserved for the most prominent male actors of that period. However, beneath the luminous smile and extraordinary accomplishments, her private existence was gradually falling apart. The focal point of this approaching turmoil was her marriage to actor Dennis Quaid, along with the arrival of a new and intense personality, the celebrated Russell Crowe. The resulting controversy would enthrall gossip magazines and permanently reshape the trajectory of her professional life. At last, the complete and surprising reality about what occurred between Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe is being revealed, presenting a story considerably more nuanced than what the public had been taught to accept. The deterioration of Meg Ryan's apparently flawless existence did not transpire suddenly. It started with the gradual erosion of her marriage, intensified by an extramarital relationship, and perpetuated by an unrelenting media frenzy that captured the public's fascination. Born Margaret Hyra on November 19, 1961, in Fairfield, Connecticut, to Susan Jordan, a former actress and educator, and Harry Hyra, also a teacher, she selected the professional name Meg Ryan from her maternal grandmother's family name, a minor adjustment that would eventually achieve worldwide recognition. Her journey toward stardom commenced after she departed from the University of Connecticut and New York University, taking a considerable gamble by leaving school just 1 semester before completing her degree to chase her acting ambitions. Her first noteworthy role came on the daytime drama As the World Turns, where she portrayed Betsy Stewart Montgomery Andropoulos from 1982 through 1984, developing her abilities in the demanding environment of soap operas. Her transition to motion pictures arrived in 1986 with the cultural sensation Top Gun, featuring her as Carol Bradshaw. Although this was not a leading part, the role drew attention from both viewers and industry professionals. 3 years afterward, in 1989, she obtained the part that would characterize her entire career, Sally Albright in When Harry Met Sally. This intelligent, amusing, and emotionally resonant examination of friendships and romantic relationships included one of the most unforgettable sequences in film history and secured Ryan her initial Golden Globe nomination, solidifying her position as a significant Hollywood figure. The entirety of the 1990s belonged to Meg Ryan without question. She starred in 4 major romantic comedies: When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, French Kiss, and You've Got Mail, which together generated over $670 million globally. Her collaborative work with Tom Hanks became the stuff of legend, and viewers could always count on a satisfying cinematic experience. Yet Ryan wanted to prove she possessed greater range as an actress. In 1994, she accepted a more serious dramatic role portraying an alcoholic school guidance counselor in When a Man Loves a Woman, receiving a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination for her efforts. During 1998, she dominated the box office with both City of Angels and You've Got Mail. By the year 2000, her compensation reflected her standing in the industry. She obtained a $15 million payment for the thriller Proof of Life, positioning her among the most highly compensated actresses working in Hollywood at that time. She could select from virtually any project she desired, famously declining the opportunity to play Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs, a part that eventually went to Jodie Foster and resulted in an Academy Award victory. Ryan was deliberately constructing her career around warmth and approachability, a formula that succeeded brilliantly for an entire decade. However, while her professional existence flourished, her personal relationships were deteriorating. She remained married to Dennis Quaid, a man she had encountered on a film set years previously, and the appearance of Russell Crowe during the production of Proof of Life would serve as the trigger for everything to transform. Before Russell Crowe entered the picture, Dennis Quaid was already present, a motion picture star in his own right, recognized for performances in films such as The Right Stuff and Jaws 3D. When their romantic involvement began in the late 1980s, Quaid was arguably the more familiar face of the couple. Nevertheless, fame operates in unpredictable ways, and by the moment their marriage concluded in 2000, the situation had altered considerably. Quaid would subsequently acknowledge feeling as though he had become invisible whenever they appeared together in public. Their initial meeting occurred on the set of the 1987 science fiction comedy Inner Space, but it was their subsequent collaboration on the 1988 film DOA that ignited their romantic connection. Wedding plans scheduled for 1990 were postponed when Quaid confessed to struggling with substance abuse issues. Rather than destroying their relationship, this revelation led him to seek rehabilitation, and they eventually married on Valentine's Day in 1991. Their son, Jack Quaid, was born on April 24, 1992, and would eventually pursue acting himself. However, the marriage continued to face difficulties, as Quaid's internal battles persisted. He later characterized his addiction as requiring substantial quantities of substances daily, and described experiencing what he called a white light moment where he envisioned his own death, an event that ultimately motivated him to enter treatment. He achieved sobriety and maintained it, but the harm to his marriage had already occurred. An additional source of tension within their relationship stemmed from their diverging career paths. As Ryan's prominence expanded dramatically, Quaid's professional achievements failed to keep pace. During a 2018 conversation, he acknowledged that Ryan's increasing celebrity affected him deeply, describing how members of the public would call out her name while he felt completely overlooked. He reflected on his feelings of envy as immature, yet recognized the genuine pain associated with the experience. The couple publicly announced their separation in June 2000, although the exact timing of their split became a subject of considerable debate. Tabloid publications promptly connected Ryan to her Proof of Life co-star Russell Crowe, suggesting the affair had directly caused the marriage's failure. Ryan initially rejected this narrative, explaining to W magazine that the dissolution of her marriage occurred before it became public entertainment and maintaining that neither party had been unfaithful. However, during a 2006 discussion with Oprah Winfrey, she offered greater honesty, characterizing her marriage to Quaid as profoundly unhealthy and essentially non-existent for an extended period, acknowledging she should have departed much earlier. Quaid, meanwhile, was forthcoming about his emotional suffering, telling W magazine that the separation destroyed his sense of identity and felt equivalent to death. By the time the divorce was formally concluded in 2001, Ryan was already associated with the intense, unpredictable, and outspoken Academy Award recipient Russell Crowe, establishing the foundation for one of the most heavily scrutinized controversies of the early 2000s. Meg Ryan encountered Russell Crowe in 2000 while working on the set of Proof of Life. The movie's storyline involved their characters developing romantic tension, and away from the cameras, that chemistry proved entirely genuine. During July 2000, before her divorce from Quaid was legally finalized, photographers captured Ryan and Crowe holding hands as they departed from Tom Cruise's party celebrating the premiere of Mission Impossible 2. Prior to this, they had been observed being affectionate in London restaurants and clubs, as well as traveling together extensively throughout California and Australia. Friends characterized the pair as utterly absorbed with one another, describing them as intensely infatuated, sharing meaningful conversations, exchanging frequent emails, and maintaining constant telephone contact. They were observed exploring properties in Australia as if searching for a home together, an endearing but transparent pretense where Crowe would point at houses and ask Ryan for her opinion. Despite their public appearances, they maintained considerable secrecy about their relationship, with both actors declining to participate in most press interviews for Proof of Life to evade questions regarding their personal involvement. This choice angered the film's director, Taylor Hackford, who believed the movie suffered as a result. The passionate relationship, however, proved short-lived, reportedly concluding by Christmas of that same year. The separation occurred quietly, but the consequences were overwhelming. Ryan, formerly America's beloved sweetheart, now found herself portrayed as a homewrecker. Her previously pristine reputation sustained significant damage, and both the public and the film industry began to distance themselves. The brief involvement with Russell Crowe produced lasting effects, though it represented merely the initial controversy in a series that would follow. The scandal involving Crowe marked just the beginning of her troubles. During October 2003, Ryan appeared on British television for an interview with Michael Parkinson intended to promote her newest film, In the Cut, an erotic thriller directed by Jane Campion. The events that unfolded over the following 17 minutes would continue to affect her reputation for years afterward. Parkinson questioned her aggressively about her decision to participate in such a cynical and pessimistic film, suggesting that her personal difficulties had influenced her selection of darker material. Ryan became noticeably uneasy, providing brief responses and eventually requesting that he conclude the interview. The reaction was swift and harsh. Parkinson characterized her behavior as inexcusable, and British media outlets portrayed her as hostile and conceited. For an extended period, this version of events prevailed, with Ryan cast as the antagonist. However, in 2021, Parkinson admitted he regretted not handling the situation more diplomatically, conceding that he had been visibly irritated and had appeared somewhat arrogant, offering a delayed apology. Ryan, in response, characterized him as a judgmental father figure criticizing her professional choices. This interview represented a significant setback, compounded by the commercial underperformance of both in The Cut and her subsequent film, Against the Ropes. Following these productions, Ryan took a 3-year break from Hollywood, explaining to the New York Times Magazine that she had become exhausted by the industry. During this period away from public attention, her facial features underwent noticeable transformations, generating considerable speculation regarding cosmetic procedures. Photographs taken in 2023 prompted significant online discussion, with some observers comparing her appearance to Madonna and fueling rumors that she was excluded from the 2022 sequel Top Gun: Maverick due to these changes. Ryan has consistently attempted to dismiss such questions, telling Glamour magazine that cruelty and negativity serve no constructive purpose. Her absence from acting extended for nearly a decade, time she utilized to cultivate other aspects of her life and personal development. In 2023, she returned to screens in the romantic comedy What Happens Later, which she also co-wrote and directed. Although the film did not achieve blockbuster status, it represented something meaningful. She was operating according to her own preferences, sharing a story personally significant to her, and refusing to allow previous controversies to determine her future direction. For more than 2 decades, the prevailing explanation remained straightforward. Meg Ryan abandoned Dennis Quaid for Russell Crowe, and this affair destroyed both her marriage and her public image. Yet the reality, as Ryan has gradually disclosed, proves considerably more intricate. The romantic involvement did not conclude her marriage because that union had already effectively ended, a fact she has consistently maintained. She has characterized the experience of being labeled a scarlet woman as genuinely liberating, a moment when she recognized that public disapproval possessed no real influence once you truly understand yourself. Her connection with Crowe was temporary, lasting under 12 months. A crew member from Proof of Life described it as a typical romance between co-stars, though a friend revealed Crowe desired greater commitment, even wanting to marry her. He overwhelmed her with presents, including a 1963 Buick antique automobile and a puppy, gestures described as excessive and premature. Physical distance also contributed to their separation, with Crowe residing in Australia while Ryan remained in Los Angeles, a geographic gap Crowe identified as the primary obstacle to sustaining their relationship. Despite their breakup, Crowe has spoken positively about her, describing her as a beautiful and courageous individual. Ryan subsequently entered a lengthy on-and-off relationship with country musician John Mellencamp, which concluded after 10 years. By 2024, she had redirected her focus toward her professional projects, family responsibilities, and charitable activities. Russell Crowe has similarly progressed and maintains a long-term partnership. During 2025, Crowe declared he had no intention of marrying again, characterizing his current existence as joyful and fulfilling. The truth surrounding Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe was never the straightforward scandal depicted by tabloid journalism, but rather a nuanced account of a woman extricating herself from a failed marriage, experiencing a brief yet intense connection, and ultimately freeing herself from the limitations imposed by public perception.